Welcome to the Instagram stories for Tuesday, May 27th. I'm your host, Daniel Hill. There was no show yesterday because here in America, it was a holiday. We all took the day off. I did not spend any time in front of the computer, but instead worked on other projects, spent time with family, watched Lilo and Stitch. Definitely did not get teary-eyed at Lilo and Stitch. Other people in the theater might have been teary-eyed at Lilo and Stitch, but I just want to be 100% clear that that was not me. Sure, I was doing a lot of blinking, but that's completely unrelated and has nothing to do with watching Lilo and Stitch. Today on the show, we're going to hear from the head of Instagram as he answers questions like, does going live help you get more followers? Does taking a month off Instagram affect your reach? And also a plea for more questions from the head of Instagram. All of that and more on today's episode, but first, here's a quick word from our sponsors. Welcome back. Let's get into the questions and answers from the head of Instagram, and starting with all the ones that have to do with reach, and then we'll move into growing your following. The first one, will taking a month off destroy my reach? Interestingly, the answer is yes.
It won't destroy your reach, but unfortunately it will hurt your reach. We're trying to fix this because it's not intentional. It's just because we have less data about how your content is doing with people. We just unintentionally value it lower. Trying to fix that right now. If you want to take a couple of days off or a week off, that's usually fine. If you take weeks or months off, that sometimes hurts your reach, and we're trying to fix it.
I think that's a little ridiculous. You should be able to take time off from an app that does not pay you to post on the app, but rather makes money from you posting on the app. Let's just not talk about that anymore. Let's move on to the next question. How do I know if I'm being shadow banned? Interestingly, Instagram does give you some hints.
So our hope is that if there's an issue with your account, you're not reaching as many people as you should, that we let you know about it. So what you can do is you can go to your profile, go to settings and go down, and you will see a section called account status. And there you can see if you've had any content taken down or if your content or your account overall is not recommendable. And then you can either make adjustments or appeal if you think we've made a mistake. We're not trying to do anything in the shadows. We're trying to balance making sure people can express themselves, but also, safety and creating a positive experience. And so if something is going on with your account, you can go to account status and check that out.
It's good to just check in the account status section of the app periodically and make sure everything is good to go. And if you have any problems, that you take care of those. Let's move on to the next one, which has to do with hashtags. We haven't talked about hashtags much lately because their overall importance in the world of Instagram has gone down significantly. They used to be how we searched for content on Instagram. Search is really not much better on Instagram, but these days you kind of just go to the account that you're looking for and scroll until you find what you want. You can obviously search usernames, which is the best way to find the account that you want to reference. But because you can't search for individual pieces of content, and because people have used the same hashtags millions of times, they're essentially useless. Here is Adam explaining if hashtags actually help at all. The answer, not much.
No. Contrary to popular belief, hashtags are not a way to get more reach. I know people hear that all the time. They're a great way to let people know what your post is about and connect posts, and I think they're useful for things like search, but generally speaking, no, hashtags do not improve your reach.
I think this is a really good conversation. Whenever anyone asks me about hashtags, I always ask them, when was the last time they searched for something using a hashtag? It's just not really how things work in this day and age. Let's go on to the next question. How is going live for getting followers? This person is asking if they go live with some kind of frequency, regularly, high production value, will that help them to get more followers? The answer is not really.
For the average creator, live is not a meaningful way to grow your followers. It's, I think, a cool tool. It's really useful for certain creators that do things like DJ Live, but it's mostly going to reach people who already follow you. So it's not particularly meaningful as a way to grow your overall followers on the app.
Okay, with that context, I do think that there is a potential to grow your followers with live if you're using it in conjunction with someone else where you have similar audiences. Here's what I mean. If you go live with someone and you and that person you're going live with talk about similar topics, someone who follows that other person who's on the live with you and they join and see you as an expert talking about the same topic, they would potentially want to follow you if they see that you are just as knowledgeable, more knowledgeable than the person you're having a conversation with, since they're already interested in that person that they've been following for a while. In that case, I do think lives will work really well. But apart from that, it's not like someone's necessarily going to come across your live randomly when they've never heard of you before and follow you because of your live. It could happen, yes, but doesn't seem like a great way to expend a lot of time and energy. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about some new features of Instagram that you might not be familiar with, and the head of Instagram makes a plea for more questions. Stick around. Welcome back. We're continuing with the questions and answers from the head of Instagram, and let's move on to talking about edits. This is not a question, but the person says, I love the Edits app.
Thank you. That's awesome to hear. Lots of room to grow, but strong start so far. If you make reels often, excuse me, and you make them on your phone, try Edits. It's a really fun way to not only edit reels, but also collect your ideas, organize your ideas, get inspiration, and see how your reels do. And a bunch of fun new creative tools that are going to be exclusive to Edits coming out over the next couple months, so keep an eye out.
By the way, I want to take this moment to mention that last week on the show, Tom Bender, who is product lead on the Edits app, had posted a bunch of tips on how to get the best video quality out of the Edits app, and we reviewed those on the show. If you did not have a chance to listen, go back and check out last week's episode where I discussed that in depth. Okay, let's go on to the next question, which has to do with the blends feature. If you're not familiar with blends, it gives you a blended feed of reels that you and a friend can view, and it will have reels that both of you would potentially be interested in. Here's Adam answering the question, what is this new blends thing?
So we want Instagram to be a place where people come together over creativity, and Blend is trying to do just that. Basically, in any DM thread, either with a friend or a group of friends, you can start a blend. Everyone has to opt in. And what you get is a feed of reels that you might be interested in based on all of your interests. And you can see who each reel is for, which is a kind of fun, wild way to explore not only your interests, but your friends' interests, and then talk about them.
Just a warning on blends. If you have concerns that Instagram might add reels to that blended feed that you wouldn't want the other person knowing you watch, you probably wouldn't want to use the blends feature. Just throwing that out there. And the last question from Adam, do you use language segmentation on Instagram for multilingual countries? This is a kind of confusing question, so I'm not 100% sure where the person's going, but Adam says something in this answer that I think is very interesting about the future of Instagram. He touches on a feature that YouTube has had for a while and Instagram definitely needs. Here's the clip.
I'm not exactly sure what this question means, but generally speaking, we assume you speak the language that your phone says your phone is in. So if you have your phone system turned on to Italian, we're going to think that you speak Italian, and that will affect what you see. We're trying to build more tools to allow people to reach each other across borders and linguistic barriers. You can translate comments, for instance. You've been able to do that for a while. We've started to roll out the ability to actually dub an English video into Spanish with lip syncing and all, and vice versa. I started to do that this week. More to come. We want people to be able to discover and interact with creatives from all sorts of cultures with all sorts of languages, and are hoping that technology can help support that.
Okay, did you catch what he said there about the dubbing? This is something that is so important. Everyone should be able to watch your videos, regardless of what language they speak. However Instagram makes that happen, I am all for. We need to open up the content that we make so that everyone around the globe has a chance to enjoy it. Okay, lastly, here is a clip from the head of Instagram asking for more questions so that he can answer them.
For about 6 years now, every Friday, I've done an Ask Me Anything in my stories, and I try to pick questions to answer that are more timely, things that are of the moment or of the week. Now, I also go through the comments on all of my posts, and I sometimes try to find good questions, and I make videos just answering those questions. So this video is just a call for questions. Questions that might not be so much about what's happening this week, but a bit more timeless, where the answer will be useful not only today, but for the next few weeks or even the next few months or years. So if you have a question like that, please ask it below in the comments, and I'm going to go find a couple of the best ones, and I'll make dedicated videos answering those questions. I appreciate it. Peace.
Okay, that is going to do it for today's episode. Hopefully you found those clips helpful. As always, be sure to come back next time for more social media news, strategy, and other things that you need to know.
Let me tell you a couple things that you should know about me. A product manager, but do not have a bachelor's degree. But actually, that's factually a fraction of me. Another fraction's posting content irregular and irrationally. Still probably won't get a job at the Gram. They forgot, they don't know, or don't care who I am. That's why you never see me at the parties and events. My lack of followers must make me irrelevant. Don't have a course of book to sell to make a bag of grand. Not a social media marketer, don't represent any brands. Plain to see, don't have an agency, but I got a lot of spam. Just putting in the work, without the glitz and glam. Won't catch me eating fish, unless it's shrimp or clam. No six pack, no risk that, there's a gym card in my hand. Don't have a full-time job, but I got a lot of plans. Stay plotting, dropping knowledge on TikTok and Instagram.